All right, cities have faced many serious problems over the past year. Even though today's economic data shows signs that a recovery may be starting to emerge, American cities may be facing still serious budget concerns over the next few years. Municipal officials say tax collections won't recover until after the economy gets better. That according to a survey by the National League of Cities. 88% of city finance officers say they are less able to meet the costs of running their governments compared to a year ago. 89% say that next year will be worse. And that was the most negative assessment that we've seen in the survey since it began in 1986. So even in what looks like now an improving economy, it's tougher for cities to deal with deficits this year compared to last. What can be done about that? Here to discuss the case of one city that has managed to plug the holes, at least for now, with a tax hike is Columbus, Ohio Mayor Michael Coleman. Mayor, thanks for joining us today. I appreciate your time. Let me ask you, is Columbus out of the woods now? Voters approved a 0.5% income tax increase at the beginning of August. Does that solve your problems for the time being?
Well, it's very, very helpful, believe me. Even with this tax increase of 0.5% in our income tax, we'll still have a deficit of $15 million. However, if this tax increase had not passed, our deficit would be a minimal $115 million. So we can handle a $15 million deficit through some major adjustments that we can make. And we're not out of the woods yet, but a $115 million deficit would have been a catastrophic gap that would have a tremendous negative impact on the quality of life of citizens in the city of Columbus.
You've already seen, obviously, fiscal tightening there. You've already had some sort of impact. What kind of cutbacks have you had to make to deal with the economic situation you're facing now?
Well, over a course of years, we cut some $600 million over the past 10 years on an ongoing basis, on a continuation budget basis. While I've been mayor, we have closed down recreation centers. We have reduced the civilian workforce by a third. We've made major cutbacks in health care provision and social services contracts, significant cutbacks in just about everywhere. And the next line of cuts were going to be police and fire cuts, along with additional civilian service cuts. And we've always put safety first in our community. And we were in the process of eliminating some 600 or 700 police officers and firefighters, which would have put too many residents at risk, period.
All right, so you've dealt with the problem for now, Mayor. What about
yes.
next year? Because a lot of the cities in the survey, 89% in fact, said that next year is going to be even tougher than this year.
You know, actually, after recovery, in my experience, it takes anywhere between 1 to about 2 years. When the rest of the nation and private sector recovers, it takes about 2 years for municipalities to recover after that. So next year is going to be a tough year for us, but, you know, we needed this income tax regardless, and we'll still have a $15 million deficit, and we'll just have to continue to tighten our belt. Simple as that.
Mayor Coleman, it's Carol Masser here with Matt. So you've raised taxes once. Might you have to do it again to increase and make... No, you're sure, because you say it's going to be a tough year.
It's going to be a tough year. We've lived through other tough years. We'll live through this as well, but we've asked our citizens to step up with the tax increase, and they voted to support a tax increase in the city of Columbus because the consequence was just too great. And so the public supported it, and we're grateful for that, but we will not need another tax increase. We'll just continue to be fiscally prudent and fiscally conservative.
And that's enough? And that's enough to make up any gap? That's enough to just be fiscally prudent?
That will continue to have some greater efficiencies. We cut so much in the past many years. Part of the plan was to bring some of those things back. What we'll do is we'll slow some of those things down and bring them on later on in the year. We'll phase them in. So, yeah, that will be enough. That will be enough, and that's what we'll do. And we'll keep our promise to the citizens where we won't need another tax increase, but we must continue to be efficient, continue to tighten our belts.
All right, Mayor Michael Coleman coming to us from the capital of the great state of Ohio. Thank you so much for joining.